Hey, what's up and welcome to a guide to Albion Online. In this video we're going to be talking about item power. So what is item power? Well, item power is simply a numerical value displayed by an item. The higher the value, the better. Here you can see on my Adept's Great Frost Staff I've got 838 item power. I'm getting a lot of that from mastery and a lot of that from quality. You can see here the M and the Q stand for mastery and quality in their brackets. If these are displayed, it means you're getting a bonus from mastery and quality. I'm also getting a bonus from my enchantment level. You can see here it's got 2 dots here. That means it's enchanted to 4.2. You can see here the tier is displayed in the top left. Enchantment level is displayed here at the bottom. And everything I need to know is displayed in here. But if I go and look at the spells here, I'm just gonna point out, for example, that Frostbolt is dealing 212 magical damage and slows the enemy movement speed by 20% for 7.51 seconds. If I look at my tier 5, it does even less. Why? Because the item power is lower. You'd assume that a tier 5 would have better skill effects than a tier 4, but because my item power on my tier 4.2 is higher, I'm actually getting better for the spell. So item power directly translates into better spell damage, spell output. Your heals will be better, your slows will be better, everything will be longer, everything will be better in terms of the spells. So item power is above all, it's above tiers, it's above everything. The higher item power, the better. So it's worth noting that without any gear on, your character is pretty much completely useless. No matter how many hours you put into Albion Online, no matter how much you grind your character, no matter how much fame or silver you ever earn, without gear, your character is going to be as good as a newbie that's literally just started in a newbie zone. So if I remove my gear here, you can see that my health is just going to start dropping in the top left, and I'm going to default to 1000 health and 1000 energy. I'm going to put my gear on, and you're going to see it shoot straight back up. So no bonuses are tied to your actual character, absolutely no bonuses. All the bonuses are tied to the gear. You can get masteries, which are based on how much fame you grind into a certain specific piece of gear, but if you're not equipping that gear, you're not getting it. So let's get into how to increase an item's item power. There are many ways to do this. Some are more expensive than others, some are harder to do, some are more time consuming, but we're going to look at the most simple way at the moment, and that is tier progression. If you're new to Albion Online, you should be familiar with tier progression, and if you're vetted in Albion Online, you'll definitely know what tiers are. You'll know that things start at tier 2, they go to tier 3, 4, 5, all the way up to tier 8. We're going to just have a look at how much item power you can expect to get per tier. So if we look at the bow here, an Adept's Bow, which is tier 4, will give us 728 item power. Now if we look at the Expert's Bow, it will get us 828. Each tier will default increase an item's item power by 100. However, it's going to be more expensive and you're going to have to put a lot of time in to get that next tier, or spend quite a few learner points to get that, so it can be quite time consuming and it can be quite tedious to do this. However, it is the most direct way to increase an item's item power. Tiers are unlocked if you click here on the Destiny board by killing creatures of a certain tier with that item that you're going to be grinding. So here, to get the Expert's Bow, I need to kill tier 4 creatures using a tier 4 Adept's Bow or better and get so much fame. Here it's displayed by the red part. If I meet this red part, this red 38 will be 0 and I'll only have to spend 19 learner points. I'll go into most of this in a different video, but basically if you want to get the next piece of gear, you've got to kill mobs with the piece of gear. So the next way to increase an item's item power is through quality, and quality can be done through either the initial craft of a piece of gear, by using crafting focus so the crafter can churn out a good high quality piece of gear which will increase the item power depending on the quality, and this will then increase the value. This is however not the only way to get more quality. You can go to a vendor that I'll show you in a second, but you can see here that there are 5 qualities. Normal, which is default, and that gives you a 0 bonus to item power. Good gives you 10, Outstanding gives you 20, Excellent gives you 50, and Masterpiece gives you a full 100 item power to that item, so it's pretty much like another tier. So Masterpiece quality gear is really valuable, but it can be very expensive to get it. You may find some on the auction house that someone's put up a bit too cheap, but for the most part you're going to be paying through the nose for that stuff. There is a way to re-roll up the piece of gear, and I'm going to show you over here, this guy, who will also repair your gear. You can re-roll a piece of gear if you drag it here. Oh, it needs to be fully repaired. Let me just do that. You can re-roll a piece of gear's quality to the higher quality. So we're gonna see here, but it also has a re-roll cost, and this can be very expensive. You see on this T3 cape, it's only 600, which is still pretty expensive considering it's only a T3 cape. We're gonna look at this 4.2 staff. It's 8,800 to re-roll the quality up, so it's pretty damn expensive. So you're going to be really paying for that item power. So an even further way to increase an item's item power is the enchantment system. We're going to look here on this Master Warrior's Forge. I can't actually craft these pieces of gear, but I can look anyway. And I can see here that an Adept's crossbow, which is a tier 4 crossbow, has a default item power of 700. We know that. And a T5 would have a default item power of 800. We know that now. However, with the enchantment system, we can increase the item power by a further 100 each enchantment level. So we can basically artificially put it up a tier by crafting it with rarer pieces of material. Now, these pieces of material can be very expensive. They can range from outrageous prices depending on their rarity. Tier 4 enchanted materials tend to be a little bit on the cheaper side, and they're becoming more and more common as more people play it. But you can see here that a default 0.1, so we have 4.1, 4.2, 4.3 and 4.4. If this was a tier 5 piece of gear, people would call it 5.1, 5.2, 5.3 and 5.4. So here at 4.2 we can see we have an item power of 800, at 4.3 we can see we have an item power of 900, and at 4.4 we can see we have an item power of 1,000. That's a 300 item power increase. So it's really worth looking into this enchantment system, and it can be cheaper and less time consuming to go for the higher enchantment levels than actually grinding towards the next tier. However, if we do grind towards that next tier, we can get the 5.2, the 5.3 and the 5.4, and that takes us to ludicrous levels of item power. So you can really inflate your item's item power by combining it with the higher tier, with enchantment levels, with higher quality. But that's not the only way. Stick with me. So after all those ways of increasing our item power by using money and by tiers, there's one final way we can increase our item power even further, so we can really start racking up this item power and start chucking out some heavy damage spells. So we know about the tier system, but we know how the Destiny board works, hopefully. If not, I'll go through that in another video. I'm not going to go through that here because it's going to take a while. The Destiny board, still as it stands, the devs have kind of tried to refine it a little bit, but it is still a little bit complicated, and in my opinion, a little bit too arbitrary in terms of its sort of complexity, but I'm going to endeavour to show you anyway. So I'm going to use a branch I haven't yet used, and hopefully this will make it a little bit clearer for you guys. So we can see here, to get the axes, the hammers, the heavy crossbows, the maces and the swords, we have to first get this one, which you should have done if you've done the tutorial, and then we have to kill tier 2 creatures using a novice's broadsword. That then allows us to get these branches. So it branches along to the left, and that's cool. We know how that works. So we look at the hammer here, and the Adept's hammer is the tier 4 one. We know that, but also every level that we get the next tier, we also get a plus 20 bonus to item power for all artifact hammers. So the artifact hammer is called Tomb Hammer. Currently not every item has an artifact item, which is a little bit unfair, but it is beta at the moment. But the devs have said that come release they want every weapon to have an artifact weapon. We also get a plus 2.5 bonus to item power for all hammers, which is a very small amount, but it's a little sprinkling on top of the next tier. So obviously a 1 out of 10 here on the left, this is where you want to be looking. This goes all the way to 10 out of 10 by the way, even though it's only 8 tiers. So 1 out of 10 we can get the tier 4 hammer and a little bit of item power and some big chunk of item power for the artifact hammer. At 2 out of 10 we're going to get the tier 5, and again exactly the same bonuses. At 3 we're going to get the tier 6. At 4 we're going to get the tier 7, and finally at 5 we're going to get the tier 8, but it doesn't stop there, it goes all the way to 10. So basically past this point we don't get any more tiers, we just get flat item power bonuses. But you're going to see, the more observant of you are going to see here, that it is a ridiculous amount of learning points to get this, and it only really gets you a small amount of item power here. But if you're using the artifact hammer, by all means you're going to be doing this, and it's going to be getting you a nice flat 22.5 bonus to your item power by combining these two. And this goes all the way to 10 out of 10, so you can get a nice chunk extra item power. But it goes even further now, it goes even further down the line, and you're going to see it branches even further. So that was the default hammer, so this gives you a bonus to the default hammer and the artifact hammer, which I guess you could count as the default hammer. But then there's more specialized hammers. There's the hammer combat specialist, there's the pole hammer, and there's the great hammer. So these are 3 more tiers of hammer. So the pole hammer is, this is the default hammer again, but it's not the artifact one, and literally this will not unlock any more tiers. It'll merely give us more specialization item power bonus. So this will give us 22.5 every single tier, all the way up to 10 out of 10 here. Now it will give us 2.5 bonus for all hammers, and the other 2 branches here will also give us this. So if we really wanted to min-max, if we were actually crazy, we would max this to 10 out of 10. So say we wanted to, we were just using a hammer and we wanted the hammer to be as powerful as possible. We get this to 10 of 10, of course, because it's going to give us a 20 specialization bonus to hammers, which we are using. And it's also going to give us the plus 2.5 to all hammers. Now this one, the pole hammer one, we're using a normal hammer, so this plus 20 is useless to us, but this plus 2.5 is very useful to us. So we're going to get this to 10 out of 10 as well, and then we're going to get this to 10 out of 10 on the great hammer as well, and we're going to get a ludicrous amount of item power. Now if you are really dedicated enough to specializing in something that much, then you are going to do that, but I would not recommend it for your sanity. So hopefully that gave you a little bit of a better idea as to where you want to put your efforts and focus your efforts. Item power affects everything on your gear. On your armor, it will affect your armor and your magic resistance, your hit points, your energy. It also affects your passives as well. You can see here I'm getting passives. I'm getting all these lovely juicy stats here because of my item power. I know this guide was a little bit crazy. I kind of just spoke as I was thinking. I tried to do this, I tried to script it, I tried to record it properly, but it was just not going very well, so I just decided to just say what I'm saying. But I really hope I got the message through to you guys with a little bit of kind of, you know, looking at a Destiny board, looking at the marketplace, looking at the quality differences and the tier differences and the enchantment differences. You know, you could save a good bit of money, and you could save, more importantly, you could save quite a bit of time by not actually grinding to that next tier. Just, you know, you want to try that piece of gear out, you want to try that spell or whatever, you know, you get the enchantment level, you get the quality up, and you will get higher item power. It's worth noting that higher tiers will unlock new spells, so you wanna definitely give the Destiny board a good long look and really delve into the sort of more complex sort of intricacies of the Destiny board there. But hopefully you'll be able to save some money and hopefully save some time and really get the most out of your build with the higher item power. Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you like this guide, if there's anything you think I should improve, if you would like to see a bit more of a scripted, sort of more regimental kind of guide, then please do let me know. If you like Albion Online content, then do throw me a subscribe. I plan to do more in the future. I'm enjoying this game, it's a good game. And let me know what you think, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.